Hi Internet, this is Aidda, and this is going to be episode 11, Time Capsule, January 2018. Yes, I know this is going to be kind of technically, chronologically out of order. I'm still writing the other time capsule videos, but I already have them saved a certain number, so sorry for any confusion. What we're going to talk about this time, it's going to be the 5 features you want most in Guild Wars 2. Now, this actually started because someone made a video like this, and I thought it was such an interesting idea because I watched it with my husband, and he was like, he would have picked totally different things, and I started to wonder, well, what kind of things would some people want and what types of people that becomes, because if you ask this question you can see what type of person they are. So I wanted to answer. I got my husband to answer, which is incredible. I got the Krytan Herald, I got WoodPototoes, I got ChilledSock, Yuri, and also the person who started it all, and I'm sorry if I pronounce anybody's name wrong, Kroof. And I'm gonna link to, if you want to check down in the description, you can get all the time stamps if you just want to hear one person's answers, or if you want to get links to their channels. I'll try to put it up on screen too, but I just wanted to give a little bit of background on this question because it is a very interesting question. What 5 features would you want? I definitely want to hear what you have to say. And if you can come up with anything else like this, because this is what I would want the time capsule to have. Something that everyone could answer. So you can learn how, maybe learn someone who you're similar with. Maybe everything on our lists are totally you would be like, I don't care about any of those. I have this epic list. So I will be writing who I have. The one person I'm really surprised to have is Inks. His list is gonna be so cool because I really don't, I might have to do a follow-up with him because he just, spurred some stuff out. I'm like, I have no idea what you're talking about. So in some cases, that is the case. And that's definitely the case with my husband, which is why I'm going to have talking with him on both my 5 and his 5, because one is we both picked it, and maybe it's because we play together, but also because it's needed. So in the background, I do have our guild mission stuff, so I hope it's not too boring. If I do talk specifically about a topic, I try to switch to it. But in some cases, there's no way to actually show anything in game for that. I also will be showing pictures of people's answers because, of course, I can't have them on. I wish to have them on. But let's go ahead and get started with this time capsule with my husband, Guru. Okay, so I'm here with Guru. He's my husband, also with my cat. So if you hear cat noises, that's why. So Guru, how long have you been playing Guild Wars 2?
I've been playing Guild Wars 2 probably about the same time as you've been playing, 4 or 5 years, but not as consistent. Normally you play and I do Wikipedia for you.
Thank you. He's really good at jumping puzzles.
Yes, I like the jumping puzzles because they are the challenging part of the game, air quotes.
Okay, so when you play, what is it that you do?
I troll and make people's life miserable.
So you do the trading post?
Yeah.
Okay. And then what other games have you played? I know you've played WoW.
Yes, I initially started, my first game was EverQuest, and I quit after getting killed by, what do you call those rodents they had at the very beginning when you beat the rats with a stick, and a rat killed me and that body died and I couldn't find my body. And
you didn't even make it to level 5?
No, I didn't make it to level 5.
Okay.
So then I played another game called Anarchy Online and I became one of those Advisor Rubikais. and I played that for a long time. And then from there, it was mainly WoW. And then Guild Wars 1.
You were in Pure, right? You were like a guild leader.
Yeah, for
you were one of the first people to do raids. Like, you were the first groups to finish, and yeah.
It was so long ago. Yeah, and then I did Guild Wars 1 when I met you. Mm-hmm. And now we play...
But you were really big into EVE online.
Off and on. I did have a 0 sec base in EVE Online. But I mainly play Guild Wars 2 now, mainly because of interacting with you.
I play, yes. So I brought him into the game. Okay, so when we talk about your 5 things, we're going to start with the bottom, so number 5, and then work our way up. So let me switch over to that.
Okay, so my 5th feature I wish was in the game was personal instance decoration. I like the idea that we have this personal instance, but it really feels like it's just for nodes and having people farm, and people farm enough as it is in the game already. The personal instance doesn't have anything that makes it really personal, and I think one of the things you can do with the scribe is create the ability to create personal decorations in your personal instance, just like you can do for a guild hall as a guild, you can do for your own personal home. And I think that would add a lot of personal character, maybe even new skins or items they can sell in the game on the Black Lighting gem store, as a way to say that these are ways to make your home instance really unique to you. End. All right, my 4th feature is to make the jumping puzzles more into like adventures with leaderboards, times, like how fast you can get to the top, even making it as an adventure, as a group adventure, so that if you take people with you, the number of people that go with you in a group, like a squad, and get to the top, you get a higher reward, for example. And that encourages other people to help other people and keeps them involved, because a lot of the jumping puzzles that have been around for a long time are pretty empty, and it's really hard to do them without a lot of mesmer help, unless you're really good at jumping puzzles like me.
He did the Halloween jumping puzzle like the first time he did it.
I did the Chalice of Tears 5 times.
Yeah. He's really good at jumping puzzles.
Yeah, but besides the point, though, I mean, other people need help, and it'd be great as a way to help people.
What about the daily?
Be awarded that, and they also make it as a daily too. Like they make this the daily jumping puzzle and have it so that people can group together to do it as an adventure, for example.
And then have a leaderboard.
Yeah, have a leaderboard. Yeah, and I think that would make it so the jumping puzzles are more viable. It gets people engaged in them and helping each other out, so you don't feel so alone. So my 3rd feature is this idea of a lot of the story content is behind raids, is behind dungeons. And now I know you're going to say that, well, only the main path in the dungeon really has a story content, but there's a lot of like ambient and other story content in the paths that are very useful. WoW does this, where if you were to do a dungeon, there's an option between a normal mode and a more, say, heroic or hard mode. I would like to see this on the raid. The idea that you might not be the best, but you can do the raid, for example, in a personal mode. Maybe you don't get any rewards for it, but it's the idea you can group with it. You can experiment with mechanics. If you really want people to get better, you really need to give them an opportunity to try to succeed, even if it's a little easier, versus having them get into a raid, have that whole fear mechanism built up, and then not do it again. And so I think the option of this enabling more content to be visible to people through a personal mode that may not be rewarding at all, may not get any rewards at all, but the idea that you're able to explore that, see the game, and participate with your friends, it may also increase the overall quality of players. And I think that would make a better gaming experience.
So my big question, because I know a lot of people might have asked this for, raids, the personal mode. What about the idea of getting good?
Well, that's the thing, is that if you can't get good, if you can't play it. And if you can't play it because the raid's mechanism is already set up so that if you're not good enough, then the people you're playing with aren't going to play with you unless you're in a really friendly guild who's willing to go through that learning. And if you are in that kind of guild, you need to stay in that guild forever. But if you're not, though, if you're just trying to get in, it can be very discouraging that you're joining a group, even a pug, for a raid, and you don't feel adequate. It's the idea that you can do it as a pug in a personal mode, be able to experience mechanics, just be able to see how it works and runs, increases the player skill significantly.
So I know a lot of YouTubers have said that the current model for all the bosses in the personal stories, especially with Path of Fire, had raid mechanics in it. So technically the entire base is getting quote unquote better just from doing bounties, doing normal stuff. What do you think about that?
And that's why I'm thinking that the raids themselves should be set that way.
Okay.
Because that mechanics is helping the general base. I don't see any problem with allowing
I took a totally different stance on this topic.
Because I don't see any problem of letting the normal player base experiencing the content. And if we wanted to argue about rewards, I can say, fine, you don't get any reward. The only reward you get is to do the content. Let's say there's nothing involved. You don't get anything. People would still do it. You would do it for the lore alone. And some people may do it just because if there's no reward, but there's the ability to learn a mechanism, to fight the raid boss, to see how many times you get killed, that might actually help you learn. You really learn from doing. And if you can get more people encouraged to play, you'll make a better player base. And that's just my opinion on that.
Now, is it just for raids and dungeons or any other part?
Those are the only instance content. Is there something else I missed?
Personal story.
What?
Technically, personal story is instant.
What, Zaitan's hard? Oh, come on. You beat Moldarov naked.
I did.
You beat him naked.
We were talking about the armor. We were so bad. Okay, we'll talk about that later. Thanks. Okay, now number 2.
All right. My second feature is revamping the Looking for Group tool. The Looking for Group tool is really more like a bulletin board right now. You're posting. You have to pick the right location. Put some text in. Hopefully someone reads it. I really like the Looking for Group tool that some other games have done, like WoW has done, for example. You make some option choices, and you click it, and it goes and finds a group for you. It groups you guys automatically. It does that legwork for you. Having to use a tool that requires you to skim and look and think, it's not really intuitive. If you want people to group, it's very nice if it does it automatically. Because here's the thing, is if people are grouped automatically, in a pug sense, they're more likely to play together just because they're grouped together. And I think if the tool did it for you and helped you along the way, even was more of like, I want to do a dungeon and I don't care what dungeon it is and I just need these people to help me, and it gives you those people, then you can have that conversation with those people what you want to do. But at least it creates a group for you. It builds that group for you so you can have those experiences.
What about the changes they have done to Looking for Group?
They have done changes?
Yes. They've added the slots for each map. They've added...
And that's the thing that makes it worse.
Role-playing.
I think they make it worse because now you have a list. And how many people like going through lists? It's much easier. You just select your game mode, what you're wanting to do, and just having it automatically find people for you than having to go through a list. And if you're a new player and you look at that list, what are those places? I don't even know where they are. Do you remember half the names of those maps?
Yeah, I
do. You?
I do.
Every single map?
Almost, yeah.
Almost.
Yeah.
And you're a veteran player.
Well, because, no, it's in every single thing. They have squad, and then they have world boss train, but most of the time, people who do world boss trains are in the normal squad, so I think it's kind of filtered out by now, but... Yeah, and then they have one for AB, and then they have one for every single map in the new living story, but they don't have any from core Tyria, and that would be awful, and I wouldn't want that.
So you mean I have to know what I want to do, once I figure out what I do, click on a list, go through that list, read a bulletin boarded list of people's...
I know all their acronyms.
Yeah, I know all their acronyms. And see who they already have in their group.
Yeah.
And then join it.
Or make a new one.
Oh, yeah. Or
That's actually pretty hard.
Or post one, yeah.
Because, there's a difference between, like, if you're a squad leader, there's the squad looking for group information, and then there's, when you actually join, the squad message. Totally different interface.
See, I'm a big fan of the idea that making the group automatic, because once you get people together, they'll act organically together.
See, I'm a total solar player, so I would never have thought of this. But yeah, the looking for group tools. Yeah, pretty horrible.
That's just my opinion.
Yep.
And my number one feature is making crafting great again. It wasn't great in the first place, but hey. One of the things you'll notice is that a lot of the recipes are getting really complex, especially when you get up to the higher level recipes. And you'll have recipes that build and build and build on recipes. And
like the back pieces.
And one of the things that is, you might have to go to 3, 4, 5, 6 screens deep to build a base ingredient for a back piece. That is a lot of clicking that doesn't need to be done. What I would like to know is I would like to be more of a tree, kind of like you see in like other games like Civilization, where you put your mouse over it and it'll tell you that, hey, it will make these items because you have these materials, and it will automatically know what you need and what you don't need for all those basic, secondary, and tertiary levels. And you hit craft, and your character is smart enough to put all that together. Versus you having to go down to that basic leather and building it all the way up. I know this is probably not a very important feature for some people, because how often do you craft something in the game, especially since crafting doesn't have the same importance like it does in some other games. But it's just that it just seemed very convoluted that any kind of system that you have people going through multiple windows, multiple screens, just to put something together, it's not going to encourage them to use it.
What's that rule about how many clicks does it take to get to your destination? What's the rule?
You lose most people after 3 clicks. After 3 windows depth, if you go 3 windows, you open 3 windows, the person, by the time you get to the 3rd window, they've lost the context of what they're trying to do because they're somewhere else now. They've lost their flow of thought. And that's why it's really nice to use visual elements like a tree or something, where you put your mouse over the item and it shows you in a tree format, hey, these are all the stuff you have. This is all the stuff you don't have. What happens in reverse? What do I need to make this backpack? You have to right now go click at that backpack and click on every single thing.
It might be that frame way at the end.
Yeah, it might be that frame at the end. You don't even know. Wouldn't it be nice if it just shows red, like a tree, and it shows you a red circle or red square around the frame, and you're like, oh, I need to make that frame. And visual elements are really easy to help players versus in-depth windows. And for me, if you're a heavy crafter, or you're making lots of items, or you're trying to make a lot of items to sell on the crafting post, which you shouldn't do because you don't make any money, or you're just trying to craft items to throw them in the toilet, or you're just trying to craft because you like crafting, the idea is that it's a quality of life thing.
Well, Guru is going to stay with us just for my part too, because there is one that's very similar. So let us do the majority of mine, and I will bring Guru back. So just stay around, Guru.
Okay.
See, isn't it great to actually live with the person that you want to interview with? It makes it so much more easier. Okay, so me, Aidda, most of mine are actually surrounding a lot of guild stuff, because I am definitely a guildie. I definitely do guild missions. I'm not a vet. I am not a pro gamer. I am not anywhere close to where most people are. I think I have like 9,000 AP points. So in terms of like who I know, I'm I'm usually in the middle. I'm usually the one who's like, hey, what about the little guy? And then, hey, this is not a problem for other people. So, yeah, I'm definitely, like, in the middle. But I think of myself as casual because I don't play, like, 8 hours a day. So, my 5, also in, I guess it's called descending order, are very unique. Now, I'm going to do a little bit about what, like, Guru did. I'm coming from mainly Guild Wars 1. I did play EverQuest. I played Oblivion. That doesn't really count. That's not really an MMO. I'm beginning to play Final Fantasy Online, 14. And I'm going like, oh, I have to change, like, half of the hotkeys to, like, actually be able to walk and, like, you know, turn and, you know, change a bunch of stuff. And I'm learning other games so that, you know, I have a way to talk about this, because it's like, why doesn't this guild have it? We specifically use Discord for, I mean, you can see it on our screen. It's literally, Discord is our lifeblood. If we did not have Discord, I do not think the guild would exist. And that definitely comes into play. But mine is more like a long-term type of deal, because, you know, I started with Hot, and but my focus in the game is really like achievements and guild, so that's why I tried to put that in. So unfortunately you're not going to see us get to the top of the vista unless I just do it right here. So my number 5 is Guild Scribe. Should not be personal. It should be for the guild. And I say this because when this first came out with HOT, I was in a guild where, guess what? The scribe left as soon as they were maxed. And they went to another guild, and we lost all of us putting, like, everything into them to get them all the way up. And it's really scary, you know, now that I'm in another guild and we don't really have a scribe and we don't really know if we want to have one. The one we have is really good. I should say that if you're watching, you know, but we are scared. And that comes from the fact that, you know, one, decorations are really weird because it's made to, like, be really expensive. And 2, you don't really get anything if it's personal. You know, if I'm one of those completists, which I kind of am, I don't want to have to figure out, like, okay, this is specifically for just one person, even though a guild is completely behind it. They have to be in a guild hall to decorate. Kind of goes with what Guru was saying about, you know, there's no other place to do it. No home instance, no in the city, nothing. It's all for the guild. So I'm kind of going like, why do they make this thing? So that's number 5, you know, really nitpicky, you know. But let's get into number 4. Number 4 is no dialogue when fighting. I cannot multitask. You ask me to walk and chew bubblegum, I might be able to, but not very good. You ask me to walk, chew bubblegum, and pat my head on top of my head, I can't do it. No. There's no way. I can't listen to what Scruffy's instructions are in the middle of a fight when I'm trying not to die. I cannot listen to Tiny talk in Living Story 3 before going to the volcano. I can't do it. Like, even during the Mortimer fight, he was saying stuff. I have to watch a video in order to hear the dialogue. I specifically made a video just so that I could make sure I got all the dialogue. I didn't do any fighting. I literally just said, I'm just going to sit here and just listen to it, because that's how hard it is for some people to do the voice and the fighting. And when you give instructions or you give important information while there's fighting, yeah, you might be able to turn the sound off, but you're still fighting. I don't care if you have the sound, like the dialogue completely up, and it's awful. And I'm just like, and I literally just want to, like, stop the fight and be like, okay, please say whatever it is you're going to say, Kate, before we go to the next area, because you're talking to me while fighting, and it's supposed to be funny, and no! Ugh. So, this is actually number 4. I really thought about, like, you know, what I would want, and while this could be a number 1 for me, I'm putting it number 4 because I think the other things are more important, which is saying a lot. I always am frustrated. I'm always frustrated when it's like, I know as soon as an episode starts that I'm gonna get a call from Tiny, and I want to do all my bars before that. I'm serious. Like, I'll even make the cat leave the room so that I can hear it. And I'm really glad that it's in the text now, but yeah, like, I hate it when there's talking during fighting. Okay. Now, number 3. Waiting to have fun. So, on the new map, there's this great weapon set, and I absolutely want to have this weapon set. And I don't play that often. And so when I found out about it, I was like, oh, okay, I'm going to go down to the building. I'm going to go down to the bottom. I'm going to talk to the girl. And guess what? It's time gated. I'm waiting around to have fun. I want to do all the things. I want to get my weapons. I want to figure it out. And now I have to wait. And I have to wait. And then, you know, life happened. And, you know, the likelihood of me doing this achievement is less and less each day, because I know that, first of all, there's a momentum. You know, if you find out that you're stuck, then you're like, great, I have to wait. The next day, I might not have time. Anything could happen. I even don't understand the crafting thing, where I know you can bypass it if you have money, but you can't bypass this. And, you know, they have it for the backpack from Living Story 2 Midway with the clay pots. You have to get enough of the materials from Dry Top. You know, that I kind of can forgive it. But there are so many times where it's like, it's a time-gated waiting to have fun. And, you know, having to log out to get the mail, to talk to the NPC. I remember having to do that for, like, the personal story. I was like, I'm really into this. I'm about to go to Claw Island. I have to log out to get a map from the NPC. Right before the Night of the Thorn, where you get Calimbog as a weapon, that you have to wait a day to get the thing. And I'm like, why is there this delay? Like, and it might not be that big of a thing, but it's like, I'm waiting to have fun. Like, I have to learn how to use the tool. I have to get all of these mats, and you're gonna force it to be like a time gated thing. I don't understand. Okay, that's number 3. So, number 2 is, I wish that there was one server. There shouldn't be an EU. There shouldn't be an NA. It should be one server. It should be like it was for Guild Wars 1. I know they can never do this. I know that it would cause so much lag. I know that if you want, you can really transfer. And that kind of goes with the idea that, you know, if you want to have a guild that has people who are on one side of the map or something, you know, you have to change servers, and it's expensive. I don't know how World versus Worlds do it. I know that they ask people from different, like, time zones to come over to, like, do that. It's really expensive. But it's like, I have friends who are on, you know, one side or the other. You know, we're a very global thing. I remember, you know, in Guild Wars 1, it was really cool to be, like, doing factions. I played with Koreans. I was like, this is really cool. I get to, you know, experience this. I got to talk to a lot of, you know, different types of people, and that was a benefit. But to have this in a game, you know, that, like, the second question I've ever get asked is like, what server should I join? Well, it would be a lot easier just to say any. Just pick any. Just pick the only server that there is. Okay, so one server. And this might be a problem just for us, you know. We're a guild. We wanted to have NA and EU members, but whenever we're in map chat, it's like, you have to ask if, are you EU? Are you NA? Oh, we can't group together. And it's always like this, And that might just be us, but since that's happened, that's been like a really big thing. So I definitely would want to have like one server. Like if I am watching someone on Twitch and I don't live on the, like if I'm not NA and they are, you know, think of the streamers. Like I know Peachy goes between. I know WoodPototoes is always asked like, what server are you on? It's like, but if it was one, then guess what? Everyone could play. And that's what we want. We want to be able to play with each other. Okay. Be safe, kids. So my number one has to be a skippable option. It could be called story mode. It could be called, purple rain clouds and unicorns that get us through. I don't care. It could be like 1 HP for like some of the bosses. But if my solitaire game can ask me, hey, you've been having a hard time with this. Do you want to know how to do this or just bypass it? And me be able to click yes, and that's a mobile game, I think my MMO should have that ability.
So I overheard you over here, Aida, talking about a skippable option for story mode. I like the idea because it gets you to the content. However, I can see it abused because a lot of achievements and stuff can be based on finishing some of that content.
So no rewards.
But some people may just skip it entirely, just to get through faster, to get through that content.
And that's needed. I don't want to have to watch the same cutscene over and over again just to get through something. If I've already beaten this boss, I don't care. I just want to get...
But what if you've never done it before? What if it's the first time? Do you want to be able to skip it?
Then it should be like my solitaire game and you do it 3 times and then have the option, like a pop-up or something.
I agree with that there's an option to skip it. Say it's your alt and you've done it many times already. That's fine. But I just worry that...
Murdermoth, we destroyed it being naked.
I know.
No armor.
I know, but the thing is I can see it in the story mode to have a skippable option. If things get too hard or you can't do it, I get that. Or you're repeating it again. I see that option being valuable, but I would like people to still have to go through that content to experience it at least once, not take advantage of a skipping option. So I see benefits of both ways.
And abuse.
Yeah, I can see abuse, but I can see a benefit as well.
I don't see it as abuse. I see it as being more accessible. What if I am not good at the jumping puzzle, or I can't figure out the trap, and the NPC is laughing at me? There should be a skippable option. There's no fighting involved. Just have you've been stuck for 10 minutes.
There's only the personal story.
Only the personal story.
Okay, only the personal story.
Yeah.
I just feel that some people might just skip it because they just want to get to the rewards.
That they just want to know what the story is, so that they might be able to watch another podcast.
But what happens in the situation though of all the rewards attached to the personal story though?
Then you can replay it. You can see if it's worth it. Anything. There's so many uses.
I like the ability to skip certain battles, certain areas, or be able to skip it if you've done it before. I like that idea. What
if you're an Assuran and you can't figure out the personal story part because it has you do a puzzle and you can't figure it out?
You mean the math?
What's not the... That's math a heart. Problem? That's math a heart. Problem?
Okay.
You have to figure it out. They don't let you skip it.
I would let you skip if you've done it before, or it's certain elements of the personal story that are considered complex.
Well, there can't be a consensus about what's complex to you.
And that
allows for availability. What if you're disabled? What if you can't, turn fast enough? What if you're slow? What if you're an 8-year-old and you're trying to figure it out and you just can't?
And that's why I'm mixed about this option, because I can also see it as
someone being AFK and just clicking, I don't want to jump over all this stuff.
Yeah. Or someone just wanting to skip through the story so they can get to their Black Lightning key at level 10.
Oh, that's smart. See, I didn't think of that.
I think of the abuse scenarios. I like the option though of the 1 hit point. It's kind of similar to what I was talking about.
Like the raid.
Having a mode that's set for you to casually go through the story without...
I would even be fine if there was an option where if you can't beat him within 3 tries, that it goes to the you can't beat me and continue the story. To have the opposite. That happened in Oblivion. If you cannot enter the Thieves Guild, guess what? You get a second chance, and if you can't do that, you get a third chance, and then you're out. You don't get unlimited tries. You're out. You can't do this. Done.
I see the ability to have a story mode that allows you to be casual through it and it's accessible to others as the idea you're looking for. I don't like the idea though of just outright skipping and just blasting your way through the story in an abuse mechanism. I like the idea though that if I want to just play the story and just have a story experience, honestly, the story is not the hard content. It's not the end game content. The story is supposed to add to the game's flavor, and no one should.
The mechanics, how hard it is, it's supposed to give you a sense of achievement.
It's not supposed to be hard. That's what living stories are for. I meant, I know a lot of people complain that Zaitan was easy to kill, but the thing was, it made it accessible to people to enjoy that content and story. So I kind of agree with you.
I thought it was cool. I hated him off. I hated it. It made me stop playing.
You took your clothes off and beat him.
Okay, so those are our 5 respectively. I'm going to turn it over to some wiser and smarter people than me. So let me cue that up. So I actually can't take credit for the question. Kroof, and I'm sorry if I pronounced anybody's name wrong, came up with this in a video of hers about a month ago, and it really stuck with me about the 5 features. And then I asked somebody else about it, and they gave me a totally different answer. So that's actually where it comes from. So I'm going to link to her video. It should be somewhere up in I think it's like the top right-hand corner. And I just want to say thank you for coming up with this. If anybody in the audience who is listening to this in YouTube land or anybody else on Discord, let me know if you can come up with anything. But she was the one who started this, and as preferably, I did want to include all of her ones. So it's going to be built templates. It's then going to be UI customization. And then it's going to be the action camera update. Now, if you want to listen to more detailed, you do have to click on the video. It's going to be Guardian staff. Her main is Guardian. She thinks that there's an identity crisis. And then the effect LOD updates. She has beautiful pictures of how it was before. Okay, so then I asked Yuri on Discord. I met her through the WoodPototoes website, and then we just started talking, and she goes, no idea. Well, only thing I kind of want is that mod in WoW called Arthuric. It allows you to see who is holding what item in their bag or equipment. I definitely could see that as a fashion standpoint or even as a raid standpoint, like an equipment thing. But that is a very good answer. Then we're going to get to CommonTate. Their videos are mainly like guides, like how to get the Griffin. So they're I don't know what order this is. So build templates, a funny way to deal with extra runes and sigils, a very festive mini game activity all year round. Oh my god, I would love to have like Winter's Day stuff all year round. Improved and better support underwater combat, especially if we're going to get one of those, I can't think of what it's called. Expansions. We're definitely going to need underwater. A better tutorial for new players in the beginning. Definitely. Now, CommonTate, like I said, makes videos for guides like the Griffin, guides of like how to make money. I use all those to help me with all my legendary. So I'll link to them also. Then it's going to be the Krytan Herald. As a patron, I get to ask almost any question. So I asked, I said, do not make a video of this. And I'll start from the bottom. So it's going to be companions or NPCs similar to what we've had in Nightfall. And then it's going to be mini pet battles, like a Pokemon style, with a loot and reward system. I think that would be really cool. Kind of had in Guild Wars 1 with the Assurin. The real player housing for individuals with chairs, which could actually be used as chairs now. She's definitely the role player. You can definitely see that. Agreeing with mine is going to be the cross-regional guesting for EU and NA players, and then the WoW looking for group raids. So here's the chart in the chair, lying back. So I'll link to her. She does guides, like the, top 10 fashion stuff. The WoW style looking for group or more for raids, I definitely would not have suspected that. I guess we're going to have to start doing raids pretty soon in the guild. Then we're going to have Inks. I asked him in the Discord. He usually answers a lot of questions in the stream, but I definitely wanted something to just look at. So his ones are going to be like a toys and tonic tab, because you can have a lot of toys. And then the luck cap increase or gobbler. And I guess this would be third, is the random mini checkbox. He goes further into detail about how he wants it to be more like the finisher, like a random finisher, and then rework how AR and the whole system works. And that definitely comes from a veteran player. Inks is well known for his guides of playthroughs and then news. So somebody asked in the Discord, what's wrong with the AR? And it's like, it's a pain to do it for multiple characters for T4. That's not something I would normally think about, so this is why we ask. I said that's 4. Maybe he's leaving room. I'm hoping to hear maybe what the next one would be. Ayin. Ayin does a lot of achievement guides, loves Krogan almost as much as me. She's like, ooh, that's easy. One is the trait. Then it's going to be guild versus guild. Guild hall invasions. Then it's going to be naval player versus player. And then open world player versus player. This is really surprising to me. I think she's the only one who did like really good player versus player stuff. But so Ayin helps me a lot with like jumping player guides, achievement guides. She is on the ball. She does streaming like once a week. So definitely gonna check out her channel. The links are gonna be in the description. Don't really need to say anything about WoodPototoes. He actually answered mine in a super Q&A. If you're interested in getting your questions answered, you can check the link for the Patreon for him. So here we go.
Next, we've got a question here. I usually try to give people answers that are full and, we really dig in. But this is such a ludicrous question that if I really tried to answer in full, it would just swamp the entire video down. This is like a series of videos, not even a single video. So I'll just be very brief about it because it's the only way I can tackle it, and hopefully you understand. But it's Aidda, who had several questions last time, but here says, if you had the power to add 5 new features to the game, what would you pick? Okay, so 5 features. All the features that I've got here, and I wrote them out very quickly for you, all have a general idea of renewable content, and the idea is sort of shoring up Guild Wars 2's core systems and core reward structures and ideas that keep incentive for people to keep playing without like bloating things or whatever. And actually, as a lot of you guys know, I think various aspects of this MMO need serious revamping. So here are the 5 features that I have listed. Number 1, and in no particular order, but number 1, PvE leagues, allowing people to renewably and meaningfully replay a lot of the core content and extract information and worth out of it. Feature 2, build templates and accompanying cosmetic loadouts, which I've talked about many times before, and I think someone on today's Super Q&A is actually going to refer to later. So build templates is number 2. Number 3, new tutorials for the game and basically a restructure of the leveling experience, and that's an insanely huge thing that I'm alluding to there, but there you have it. We'll package it in one short little sentence. Number 4, a mastery system restructure, because I think it is not fit for purpose, and I've talked about that, especially if you watched a lot of the Heart of Thorns review. And finally, just for funsies, because, I mean, I could be super serious about all of these, fishing. Let's have fishing. There you go. That's the kind of feature I'm sure a lot of people wanted to hear. That's a new feature for Guild Wars 2. Let's do that.
And I am so happy that I got so many people to respond to this. I definitely like the idea that this is what I want the time capsule to be. So you can figure out, you know, who you might like, figure out, you know, different things about them. I never would have thought that Ayin liked player versus player. I never would have known that the Herald wanted to do raids. And, you know, same with like inks. I never would have thought like the AR system needed to be revamped. So it's just a good idea to like ask, you know, get to learn more about people. Now, the last person we're going to talk about is ChilledSock, and he actually made a video. He was like, no, I want to do my own voice. I want to do my own video. Thank you. Thank you so much for wanting to like go beyond that and say like, yes, I want to make a video. So I'm going to send it over to him. Thank you everyone for getting this far. There will be, if you made it this far without the timestamps, I'm sorry. There are timestamps in the bottom. And then also, we're going to try to do this next month. You know, it does take a while to do these videos to, you know, get the research and everyone to kind of coordinate. Thank you everyone for answering. Your things are all going to be on the bottom. And thanks, guys. This is going to be Aidda out and sending it over to ChilledSock, hopefully. Just go ahead and click that big box, hopefully on the screen somewhere. Thanks, guys. Aidda out.